Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the second episode of Simply Explained. Thank you so much for all the support on the first video that I put out. I was pretty overwhelmed by it in a good way. I was really excited that you guys got some value from that. One of my favorite things to do is just share things that I've learned through my journey so far with other people. So I've been asking you guys kind of what you want to see, and I got so many requests for budgeting tips, how to budget, how do you get started, how do you stick to it, things like that. So I decided to bring that video to you guys today. Alright guys, so first things first, how do we get started? The first thing you're going to want to do is analyze your current spending. I'd recommend looking at least the last 6 months of your current spending. So get out your bank statements, get out your credit card statements, get out your PayPal statements, wherever you're spending money, and kind of go through all of them, and it'll be a great exercise for you to learn where your money is currently going. So as you're analyzing your current expenses, just put it into categories like food, car payment, rent, utilities, things like that. And as you're doing this, it brings me to my tip number 2, which is keep it simple. And remember why you're doing this. The whole point in doing a budget is so you can save some money. So really that total spending number at the end of the month is what matters. So if you keep it simple, it'll really help you focus on that top number. For example, I recommend having one food and drink category. If you have groceries as its own category, and you have eating out as its own category, maybe you have alcohol or bars as its own category, those things, it can just get really cumbersome, and it's really too much to track and separate. It might seem like it would provide you some value, which it could, but I've found that when things get too complicated with budgeting, I just say screw it and I just don't do it. So by keeping it simple, it makes it so you don't get too overwhelmed by all the details, and you can really dial in on just a couple big numbers that you really want to hit. So along those same lines of keeping it simple, that leads us to tip number 3, which is automate your tracking. So I had to automate my tracking because we're all really busy, and if I have to spend too much time on putting together all of my budgets and categorizing everything, it's going to be hard to get that done every month when life gets busy. So to automate my tracking, I use an app and a website called Mint, M-I-N-T. I'll link that down below in the description. And I'll also link a tutorial video down there. I thought I could do a tutorial in this video, but I thought it might make it a little long, so I'll just link it. There's plenty of tutorials online with how to use those, so I will link that below. And basically what you do is you connect your bank accounts, you connect your credit cards, and it pulls all that information for you automatically, and it also attempts to categorize those things. You can go through, usually you have to go through and kind of adjust them a little bit. Because it doesn't always know for sure. If you go to Target, it doesn't know whether you bought food or home furnishings or things like that. So you can just go in there and click, nope, that was food, that was home decor. So it's super easy to use, and I like it because I can trust that because it was made by Intuit, the producer of TurboTax and QuickBooks, that when I'm connecting my bank accounts and my credit cards and all those important things, I can really trust that everything's encrypted and the security is really good. Tip number 4 is especially something that they don't teach in schools, which is mastering your psychology and why you're spending the money the way that you are. Because most of us spend money for some sort of deeper reason than what we realize. So I want you to really analyze why you're spending the money that you are. Are you buying something to impress others, or are you buying something because you need it? And me personally, maybe I might be able to afford a nicer car or a nicer house, but I'm always going to prioritize my financial freedom and my mental health over buying something that's fancy. Don't be ashamed to drive an old car or live in an old apartment, maybe with 5 different roommates. You should always prioritize your financial freedom over what people are going to think. So don't ever spend money just because you're worried about what someone's going to think. Alright, for my last and final tip, number 5, I'm really going to explain even further why I like to make budgeting so simple. And that's because we're better off spending more of our time on producing more income versus worrying about our expenses. So I'm a sports guy, I love sports analogies, and I like to give the example of, defense is really important, which is what your budgeting would be, but unless you're playing offense and you're trying to score, you're not going to really make any progress. So really focus on how you can increase your income versus just cut your expenses, and that's really what's going to help you get ahead. You can only cut your expenses so far, and that is really important, and it's important to keep your spending under control, but what's really going to move the needle in your life is producing more income. For example, there's only so much room to cut your expenses. Maybe right now you're spending $2,500 a month, and you think you can get it down to $2,000 a month. Great, you're $500 a month better off. But your income has an unlimited potential. So, if you really focus on how you can drive more income into your life, that's really what's going to change your life. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. There's a lot more that I could talk about in terms of budgeting, but I just wanted to give my 5 basic tips for now. So let me know down in the comments below what you thought, maybe what other questions that you have on how to get going and how to stick to it, how to master your psychology. I could make a whole video on that. So let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll make another video. Hopefully, I'm hoping to do these weekly, but we'll see how that goes. So again, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope I see you for the next video. Thanks. Love you guys.